today. She's recently joined us from home office and now leads our major public sector programs and strategic initiatives. With us, we have Keith. He is the Vice President and the CTO for the Secure Government Services. He's a seasoned expert in designing, developing, and implementing large-scale mission-critical application systems and for the government departments. And last but not the least, we have Ritujit also joining us. He is the Deputy Head of the Secure Government Services, wherein he himself spearheads our business as far as defense, cabinet services, and DWP engagements are concerned. That's a quick and a short intro. I'm sure if I can start introducing all of my leaders, the 1 hour will not be sufficient for us to catch up. So with that, why don't I take a pause and I would request my colleague Abhishek to give us a quick view on the propagation of our business in the region, and then we will open up for the overall call. Over to you, Abhishek. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prajakta. I'd like to welcome all the folks who have joined the call. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate this engagement because it allows us to have a discussion two ways for us to kind of outline what we have done, as much as get your questions, which gives us an insight on what matters and where should we be focusing on. That said, Mastek's journey in public sector has been nearly 3 decades, if not more, in the geography. And for most of us on the call, I'd like to start with Mastek has been quite an antithesis of the IT services organization, especially emanating from India. They have always focused on the US, or their biggest footprint has been in the US geography, in the enterprise space, and significant offshore presence. And Mastek has always done it reverse, where biggest presence has been in the UK, in the public sector. And we have always been onshore heavy because of the transformational nature of work that we have been doing, when the word was not as much a fad as it is today. That said, I guess we just concluded FY25 and started 3 weeks into 4 weeks now, into FY26. And I think short and sweet of FY25 and the journey thus far would be around expansion of our footprint within public sector, growing beyond the app dev space for which we have been known into the data space. We have been, flirting on the borders of AI conversation with a lot of stakeholders as government is strengthening the guardrails, but more and more stakeholders are interested in understanding how AI can deliver the efficiency as much as strengthening the data for driving the AI-led efficiency. Last financial year was marked by a couple of large logos that came into the fold. The most remarkable one was obviously Department of Works and Pension in the fraud detection and fraud prevention space. UK Export Finance, FCDO, and obviously in the public sector space, in the same breath, we can say that Bank of England. The range of engagement has strengthened more towards data, with app dev going from strength to strength. And later in the conversation, Ashish, Keith, and Ritujit will take us through what we have done in the specifics. But my culmination of the preamble is our continued pursuit in this sector. We know that partners of our size and scale who can bring requisite focus as much as delivery confidence can get the outcome, have had the credential of servicing so many critical national infrastructure programs of critical national importance and contiguously for a protracted period of time. That makes us valuable. The model continues to be the same. It is the rainbow team as your client requires. Our partnership with subject matter experts, small and medium enterprises. There are places where we prime. There are places where we take their prime and support them. But sum and substance is our significant footprint in the public sector continues to go from strength to strength. It includes health, which I understand may not be the focus for today's conversation as much, but public sector, including health, has grown from strength to strength and continues to be the significant contributor of value for Mastek. That said, I'll hand it over back to you, Prajakta, for the sequence.
Thank you, Abhishek. It couldn't have been done better because the amount of business and the amount of legacy that we have in the region, this was so succinctly, shared with our esteemed participants today. With that, let me request Ashish to take the floor and walk us through our SGS journey so far. What's our vision and some of the important aspects that you would like to highlight today? Ashish, over to you.
Thank you, Prajakta. Hi, everyone. For those who were wondering why I had to go off camera a couple of times, having a few pets in the house who keep me busy as well. But I won't be, hopefully, all going well. The dog will not be prompting me anymore. Right. I should show something on my screen very shortly. Hopefully, it should be visible to colleagues now. Fantastic. Prajata, can I check my screen is visible?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for welcoming Anne Walker and Ritujit. I can confirm that they are in a customer presentation and they're overrunning, which is a good thing. So apologies for them for today's session. My intention for next 25, 30 odd minutes is to introduce our secure government services sector to you. In terms of who we are, what we have been up to, and what do we really enjoy doing. I think just to bring it to life for you, colleagues. It's nice to see some existing faces that we have interacted before, and it's nice to see some new names as well. So my apologies if you already are aware of what we do, but hopefully you'll gain something new from today's session. As Prajakta mentioned, we'll be spending some time to talk about looking ahead as we go. And we invite you for an autumn update, sort of September, October time, when we cover the depth of our Vision 2030. And also something we really enjoy, which is making a difference to our world in terms of social value. We'll cover some highlights today of that too. Okay. As Abhishek mentioned, our public sector business is across three specific areas of work. Secure government services that I head, and I'll be talking in depth about that today. Our healthcare, life sciences, and our local government and devolved government business, which I advise on, but it's not the scope for today. Should you be interested, and we would love to as well, talk about those businesses, we can certainly arrange a dedicated calls for those too. Just to get some numbers out of the way, this is not the fun part. The fun part is coming. But to give you an idea, Mastek Group in FY 24-25 that we completed a few weeks back reported revenues of just north of $400 million, with UK and Europe making a substantially large contribution of just north of $250 million, and secure government services, which we are talking about today, just north of $120 million. It constitutes, give and take, 1/3 of our Mastek Group business and just over half of UK and Europe business. Cool. Just like to bring to life our vision statement, which is a beginning of talking about our work. We have chosen to be focusing on programs of critical national importance. As a team, we quite enjoy having bigger challenges that help us actually define the digital capability for our country, running our borders, creating excise number of trade, operating complex policies like immigration, and helping on defense and national security matters. This is what Mastek in SGS stands for, and this is what Abhishek mentioned, what we have been doing over the last 10 years or so. We also want to be sure that our persona that we drive with our customers is delivery first. What it means is, in some terms, when major program authority, which is part of the Efficiency and Reform Group in the UK. Some of you will be aware of. They seem to think that we have a, a good child syndrome, and we like to maintain that way, which is give it to Mastek, it gets done. This is across our portfolio. It also means that, touchwood, we have managed to win all of our rebids in last 10 years. And you'll see some of those capabilities that we're investing in as part of this narrative. So what do we really do? I think is the question. What does Mastek in government stand for? And I think it's a simple definition. We design, build, and operate, and eventually evolve products, and we engineer platforms that drives our national or departmental services. This definition is relevant because we build Crown IPR. We build products and services that belong to government, and we co-create those with our inspiring civil service colleagues, working alongside policy, operations, and digital and data technology units. It's important to note that we are always a part of a complex ecosystem of partners, and eventually the capability that we create, we have to hand it back to government. It is a conscious choice that Mastek makes in terms of sharing knowledge, and that is a sustainable way of doing business. I wanted to talk about this because whilst we are a tech organization, our investment is not only into our technologies that we provide our customers, but also in our people, in understanding of these complex policies and really living and breathing that every day. And you'll see that shortly what we mean by that. I'm going to take a few examples. At Mastek, for last 10 years, we've been making sure that the country is benefiting from best part of 11.2 million biometric resident permits, which is for two purposes, study or work. And Mastek has been looking forward to its digitization. So not only physical cards anymore, we're going digital as a single identity. And it's a fundamental part of our biometrics persona. We are an established partner when it comes down to immigration policies and biometrics. So when people and travelers are coming to this country, whether you're coming from a port or you're coming from a shipping port or an airport, or you're coming via land, it is important to authenticate yourself. It's important to verify yourself. And our nation has significantly invested in that capability, and Mastek is proud to be a part of that. We're also helping in context of collaboration with our partners and allies in Five Eyes. And that's a huge step forward for us as a nation, especially after EU exit, to make immigration flow smooth and easy to come to this country. Mastek is proud to be building and helping on the justice reform. We built the National DNA Database, which is now 6 years into live service. What does it actually mean? Contrary to the mostly known nation, DNA is an optional request for immigration purposes, as if somebody is not able to prove their originality, mostly in context of asylum and refugee management. DNA is optional. However, when it comes down to policing and justice, it has much, much more relevant use cases. What we have been able to do is to cut down the search and match time from days and weeks down to minutes. And it's genuinely helping the justice reform going forward, because DNA is an integral part of identity verification and including elimination. Most of us will be aware the complexity of we as a nation that face from Europe, and particularly in context of our asylum policy. UK is doing more than its fair share and collaborating along with our European partners to make sure that we give a lawful and the best chance for people in destitute circumstances, especially individuals and families who have no place to go. Part of Geneva Convention and also a part of ministerial policy that is going through a substantial change. Mastek is an integral part of the solution for not only reducing the asylum burden on this nation, but also managing it lawfully and delivering it via our caseworking capability. And looking forward, we're seeing a substantial amount of transformation in the space, and that space gives us an opportunity to deliver the ministerial commitments on reducing backlogs and making decisions faster. You realize I mentioned about our identity and biometrics capability earlier on. I think notwithstanding the critical situation that we have in context of the Russia attacks on Ukraine, Defense, MOD, one of our top clients, is investing heavily in terms of its own cyber capability. From a Mastek perspective, we are helping Defense do a number of things. It's helping currently provide the IDAM capability, but also transforming for the future. What does it actually mean? Best part of 300,000 users currently use our single identity sign-on and verification service, but also going forward, it needs a significant transformation for the reasons I mentioned earlier on. Why is this transformation required? I think the cyber risk that we have on a country, especially what MOD feels, is substantial. And Mastek has the acumen and the capability to help Defense and its allies achieve so. Through this year, as Sudeshna will be informing you of our updates, as we go through the year, you'll find the progress that we are making on this context too. It is quite critical for us to be helping our customers with improving their own sustainability and generally meeting their net zero targets. Yes, we are kind of the GPS for Royal Navy, and we are helping UK Hydrographic Office improve its mapping and marine hydrographic capability for last 6 years or so. Going forward, it is quite important for not only near real time, but digitally real-time updates to be received by UK Hydrographic Office, because it's a highly competitive scenario, competing against nations who are quite advanced, like Singapore, in providing marine mapping to this industry, and including armed forces across the world. What we find essentially is there's a huge amount of transformation required with UK Hydrographic Office, and we are supercharging their transformation process today and also helping them pretty much deliver their policy of saving lives at sea by ensuring that they are ahead of the game, notwithstanding that have a duty to advise about 63 countries on their on managing their coast and the welfare of the communities that live by the coast. We are quite proud of this relationship and looking forward to helping UKHO achieve their transformation program over the next 5 to 6 years or so. Some of the other work that we do, most of you may be aware of the work that GDS does, and now as part of Defense Science and Technology. We are proud to be associated with the One Login program, and our role over there is to provide the technical service desk. This is not the contact center. This is actually the engineering acumen that goes in terms of keeping the services live 24/7 and onboarding new departments every day. As of today, we have onboarded, we've issued about 6 million identities. We have onboarded 50 services across various departments, and we're looking forward to onboard DWP and HMRC in full later this year. Mastek is heavily investing in our identity and biometrics persona. It is a common capability that we have across a number of different large departments, and you'll see a lot more throughout the year when we cover this in greater depth. We are hoping to have a wider capability by the end of the year, and we'll look forward to talk to you about that too. Something in terms of creating a national capability, as I mentioned earlier on, something quite key that we have achieved last year, and we continue to help the UK Home Office deliver a major program called Electronic Travel Authorization. Whilst it is quite similar to US's ESTA, it has multifold benefits. We are able to attract with ease spending travelers, which creates economic growth. But we also able to have a really rich understanding of our travel and our economic demographics. ETA is a highly automated platform, a highly a well-engineered platform, and I'm biased here a bit, but it's again a highly visible service which has been delivered last year to make sure that our nation, our country remains an attractive place to come. Thank you. Nearly coming to the end of some of our examples. Mastek has a significant footprint in also operations at HMRC in terms of Borders and Trade 2025 strategy. We are fifth year into our service to operate, maintain, evolve the Customs Declaration Service and the Goods Vehicle and Management Service. We are very busy these days, especially with the influence of tariff changes that are coming from our allies in US and across the globe now. This service is even more critical than ever before because it's going through substantial change on a daily basis. But again, like most of the services that you noticed, we have the accountability and the responsibility to generate close to somewhere between 850 billion to 1 trillion of economic exchange of exports and imports every year. Thank you. A couple of points like Abhishek mentioned earlier on. Whilst Mastek is we are celebrating 45 years this year, and our history in the past has been a subcontractor into large system integrators. But this year we are 10th year into working directly with the British government. 92 to 94% of our teams are based out of UK, and more than half of them are security cleared. What I discussed with you recently is our journey for last 10 years, starting with a small order of a couple of $1 million back in 2014, and representing our growth and representing the trust that our customers have in us, representing the investment that our customers have made and we have made ourselves in our business. In the year ending 31st of March, we were able to secure best part $190 million in order book. Thank you. What does it actually mean in terms of looking ahead, and what are we kind of excited about this year? You know, everything that you talked about is resilient. It's a part of our vision, but this year we want to make substantial progress on 5 items. In Borders and Trade, we're helping HMRC, as I mentioned, to increase our trade revenues. We are investing, as I mentioned earlier on, into our identity and biometrics persona and the capability, making it pan-government. We are genuinely excited about the potential of further automation in capabilities like ETA, but also with support of DSIT to wider departments, including the Home Office and HMRC. We are looking at trialing and testing agentic AI with some of our department colleagues. It is easier said than done because, as we discussed more about AI in public sector in a short while, we are also helping our departments to get ready, which is not easy in a complex landscape. We are really excited about our defense colleagues, investing further into our cyber capabilities. And to that effect, we should make some announcements through this year. Hopefully that'll be of interest to you as well. And finally, in context of Border 2025, more than any year in the past, this year is the biggest year of critical partners like us and a few others making substantial commitments to their product engineering and service management persona, and making quite substantial advancement in enhancing those products to be ready for the challenges that we are going to get from spending review. And I think more on that shortly. In terms of, you might wonder, what our own challenges, what's the story inside Mastek, whilst we are talking about the market, whilst we're talking about the spending review shortly, I think it's fair to say that we have built a high performance business, which means our teams are really committed, they're really motivated, they have a sense of purpose, they really enjoy their work. And that consequently has resulted into a very less attrition rate for us. And that's about 11% as we clock. But that also means that we have to refresh our workforce, and also means that we have to keep working on our leadership capacity. We are expected, ever than before, to deliver products faster, and we are making some substantial headway in improving our continuous delivery persona. Tajata mentioned we onboarded Ms. Ann Walker, who was continuous delivery lead for the Home Office. While she won't be working on the Home Office engagement because of her bar, but she'd be helping us improve our continuous delivery capabilities and method and discipline. And that's something that we are challenging ourselves over the next 12 to 18 months to make substantial improvements in. We know that the spending review is on us. We processed the year one spending review already, and we know what to come. And I think none of our statements of works, none of our business cases go without talking somewhere between 12% to 30% increase in productivity. And I don't just mean engineering, I mean operational and outcomes around operation productivity. Efficiency is actually a very important element for us. We are prioritizing productivity first, and we are prioritizing efficiency of engineering and products for ourselves. And I think we've got some couple of good ideas that we are trialing now, which are giving us good early results. Within the last 6 months, we have made savings for 2 of our departments in the range of 10 to 12%, and we committed those savings for next 2 years, and we're looking to improve that going forward too. Thank you. Very quickly, this is the first time for those who heard me before, I'm talking about AI, as Abhishek mentioned earlier on as well, but it's real for us. And I think our take on AI is, if Anne was here, she would have said caring for A to Z. We're just not thinking about the tech or the tools that tech provides. We are holding ourselves to account to understand how to process the policy expectations, prioritize those operational trials, and making sure that not only they get delivered, but also hold ourselves to adopt and help on adoption within our operation colleagues in public sector. And that's really important for us to think A to Z. And we are humble enough to understand that we can't do it all ourselves. And hence, we are investing in certain strategic partnerships. I'm really pleased to also work with my trusted and very knowledgeable colleague, Paul Maltby in faculty.ai, whom we highly respect. And Paul's team and our teams are working together and a number of customers to bring our mutual strengths, our understanding of customer operations and their priorities, and faculty.ai's understanding of the policy and how to unpick that policy and still find good areas of making progress on, including giving customers advice on their own account. So we're taking a very joined up approach there. And all of that cannot be done without taking into account that we are operating these national services today, and millions of citizens, including our departmental colleagues, rely upon these services being available 24/7. And I think our investment that we have recently made over the last 2 years in our service management persona, coupled with the ability to design services that can be used along with AI, ability to create products that are ready for parallel augmented AI assistance is also an engineering challenge and a delivery challenge. From our perspective, we want our customers to engage and feel that we are thinking from policy to operations, and we're bringing that holistic design thinking to be ethical and sustainable in our initiatives. Thank you. With that, this presentation from my end is come to a logical pause. We love to talk about social value, but I think it's quite possible we may have timed out. We'll take some Q&A for now, and I'll hand it over to my colleague Prajakta.
Thanks, Ashish. That was really insightful, especially for us when we look at our SGS business with. I mean, it's the thing that we all talk about, and given that it's a government sector and given the sensitivities around it, we've always shied away from saying and sharing so many things outside. But I'm super glad that today here on this platform we are able to share what we've achieved, and we're also able to give a sneak peek in terms of what's our vision for the capability. Needless to say that we are driving growth through this engine, and I'm sure Abhishek will have more to add to it. But this was great. This was a good start for us to bring our valued allies into our ecosystem and share with them what we're doing. So Sudeshna, should we open the floor for
Yes.
Q&A and
Yes.
And then we take it on from there?
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Yes. Please feel free to unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, Ashish, Abhishek, Keith, any of them can take it up.
We'll be delighted to. And by all means, we'll request our colleagues to give us feedback because we don't do this very often. What did you find interesting? What would you like to talk about more?
Yes.
We'll be delighted to hear from you.
Yeah. Even if you want to put it in the chat, that also we can take it up. Yes, Nick.
Okay, I'll put my hand up first if that's okay. So thank you for the update. That was really insightful, really interesting, and great to hear you being so transparent on the projects and the opportunities. That was really useful. I just had a couple of questions to start. So one, I'd be interested to know about the movement from engaging primarily as a subcontractor to moving towards a more primary role. How that's evolved, and what that sort of change in approach has been required from Mastek to deliver that. And the second question I had was around your expectations on the strategic defence review in the UK. I mean, I don't think there's any specific date where we expect the report to be published, but certainly, I mean, a lot of the background noise is that this is going to be positive for our industry, at least in terms of how we can help drive greater levels of efficiency, how we can support the greater investment in cyber defence, and tackle areas like procurement where there are still clearly major areas of inefficiency. So I could pause there and hand that over to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. I think we'll divide it amongst ourselves. The defense one, Ashish, clearly belongs to you. I can help with the first one, and just feel free to chip in. I think in our own evolution, Nick, the first couple of decades, we operated as a subcon to all the large SIs or consortium partners to all the large SI, whether it was London Congestion Charging with Capita or School Information Management System, Spine with British Telecom, so on and so forth. The reality of that was our sales, marketing, and front-facing persona was very limited. The big ones were winning it, and you were the engineering powerhouse. And what it brought to the fore was the sine curve of your performance. The programs get over, you have limited visibility, you are working into someone, and they were the ones deciding your fate on how much more of your services are needed. What it also did, Nick, was that it did not allow us to have any kind of tail of managed services. And having done AppDev for now 30 years, we should have had a very healthy portfolio of managed services with us. So I guess one of the framework changes which allowed all of us to compete and disaggregated the contracts, that was the pivotal moment for Mastek. And we put our foot forward and started to get on the frameworks. Like any transformation, and I'll be driven by data here. I'm just going by memory. Fiscal 2016, we had nearly 72% of our revenue as subcontractor or as a consortium partner. And fast forward to 2020, it came down to less than 10%. And you are talking about less than 5%, if not 2 or 3%. That's all that you have through that model. Like any other transition, this had its own share of pain because you have to kind of staff yourself, you have to develop your sales and marketing persona. So the first foray was about getting on the frameworks, leveraging the engagements and relationships where the delivery was recognized, and you were the trusted delivery partner. I mean, even though you're working as a sub, the consumers knew who was really bringing the engineering might. So I guess that's what allowed us to kind of move forward. And what it brings to us is the predictability of our business, the relationship that we own, and most importantly, the directional travel, which today we can talk with a degree of confidence to say, where are we going? What are we intending to do? What does it mean for our business?
Thank you, Abhishek. I'd just like to just compliment Abhishek's commentary, Nick. We always and have had an engineering mindset in the past. What that allowed us to do, Nick, was to work very closely with government as well to help not only inform but also adopt the GDS service standard. So that gave Mastek teams a really strong head start. So whilst we were bound by capabilities and processes of the large SIs in the past, it gave us a method, that we can, as a nation, adopt and actually build our skills base in. Second, Nick, we made a conscious choice of investing in the UK. So our capability now, like I mentioned earlier on, we were in no doubt whether we are an organization as offshore-centric organization, or are we actually creating a business unit which is supercharging this nation. So to that extent, with Abhishek's support, we were able to invest best part of 1,000 odd FTE between the whole public sector and close to 800 FTE now, in the UK, and that was a strategic choice that we made. The third thing I would say, Nick, was our own choices were very clear. We didn't want to go after anything and everything. We wanted to go after something that we can do justice to. So identity and biometrics was a clear choice that we made. And services and capability like data integration and orchestration, case working, we were very strong on. So when we were going away from the perceived umbrella of large system integrators, we were still playing to our strengths and continuously investing in upping our game. And I think the last thing to say is, Nick, that we have looked into all of our professional leadership personas, And the thing that we were missing and reflecting ourselves was our leadership capability and capacity. And I think that is with humble pride, over the last 4 years, we've really invested into Sophia 4s and Sophia 5s and Sophia 6 capability, as an organization. And we have a very, very strong pyramid, to support critical national importance. One good example of that is, Nick, that none of the major incidents, fingers crossed, they don't happen. But if they do, they actually get escalated all the way up. They get informed, but they are well managed by our teams. Hopefully that helps. In terms of defense review, Nick, we are watching it very closely. We don't know any more than what you would, but I think that there are two highlights. Number one, defense is under extreme focus on metal and objects of metal, that are required. And to that, we have accepted the fact that being productive and efficient is important for us. We've already created about 8% of saving for our defense portfolio at the end of FY 24-25. And going forward, we expect that spend controls in defense will remain for best part of the whole financial year. We've accepted that, we have acknowledged it, and as a reasonable partner, we're doing everything we can. Take a pause.
Thank you.
I think Rajiv's hand was
Rajiv
up as
has,
well.
yeah, Rajiv has raised his hand. Hi, Rajiv.
Hello, no, I was about to write. I need to jump off. So my next meeting starts. Quick one. So I liked it. Great show. Good show and tell of what you're doing in UK. And I like the first person tone you put in your entire statement and presentations, as if, in this country, this is the problem and this is how we are solving. So great. My one quick question, how do we scale it? So this is a good story. UK, we started your congestion charge was 2002, 2003 with Capita, and we are now 2025. So great story. Yes, coming back from backseat driving to front seat, and now holding the steering wheel. Understand that, but may not be now. I need to get off. If one of you could just drop me a note, what are your plans to scale this globally? Because public sector remains the biggest buyer. Public sector remains. Sorry, let me put it much more politically correct way. Public sector remains, in terms of waste, the highest wasting buyer. So both sides of the coins are there. So your services would be required globally. Every other public sector is going through the review of spend, as we know. So if you could drop me a note, what are your plans?
Be delighted to do that, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Thanks, Rajiv. Any other questions, please?
Hi, Massimiliano. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Harish at the side from ISG. Just wanted to add to the comment that Rajiv was talking, because the investment in the public sector, especially for the UK, other than NHS, I think the investments are still not up to the mark where it is supposed to be. How do you plan to actually expand the business furthermore, other than the ones that you had showcased as plans? The next thing is investments towards digital transformation is actually taking a backseat at the moment, given the geopolitical situation and the cost cutting initiatives. That's the buzzword that's happening for 2025. How do you see that impacting Mastek's business?
Okay. Ashish, I'll take the lead. I'll just link everything here. Harish, thanks for your question. I'd like to just recalibrate the understanding here. We don't participate in the programs which are just of digital transformation nature. Essentially, either it is led by the policy or it is led by the improvement in citizen services. That's what drives the technology consumption. Now, regardless of the government, its affiliations and policy and approaches, a couple of things are pretty consistent in the local economy, and I'll also link it back to Rajiv's observation. Wasteful or otherwise, governments do tend to spend. And Keynesian theory still says that you gotta, in the times of challenging times, you have to dig the pit and fill the pit, still create the demand. So, coming back to the point, there are a couple of clear directional intent of the government here in the UK. For example, spend review is about driving the efficiency. Spend review is not about cutting out on all the key policy matters that needs to be spent upon to improve the citizen services. For example, if you just look at health, the objectives have been outlined pretty clear: analog to digital, cure to prevention. The philosophies of health outlined by the new government, and I always tend to miss the third one. You have got population health at the center of it. So prevention is the core. If some of the work that we have been doing is around collecting the data and then driving the prevention endeavors of the government, thereby achieving the population health. Now, if we have to transform NHS within the country, then regardless of the government and affiliation, these are the directional spend to achieve those objectives. And that's what we are supporting right now. The core part of the portfolio that we spoke about in Home Office as an example, whether it is about irregular immigration or regular immigration, that requires technical solution. Most of us living in the UK and any of us who have to deal with the European Union visas, if you don't have the UK visa, UK passport, you know the reality. You can apply for it and forget when you're going to get your response. Versus in the UK, you can track and you can get your response in the finite number of days. Those are all driven by the technology that the government continues to invest in. And that's the result. That results in nearly what? 750,000 people coming into the country every year, Ashish. And that means business. I'm talking about regular immigration. These are students, these are expats, these are their dependents. They're contributing to the economy. So the work that we are doing is not for digital transformation. It's for implementing the policies or making the directional progress that government has chosen to invest in. That said, in the same breath, I would tell you that the headroom for growth in each of these departments that we are engaged with is possibly 10x plus. So we have to pick and choose how much do we want to branch into other departments versus how much we scale up in where we are engaged in. For example, the conservative estimate in Home Office would be at least 6 to 8x of headroom for growth in the addressable space. And mind you, we don't do infra, we don't do many of the things or cyber and hosting and whatnot. Same would be true for NHS at a very higher scale. HMRC would be possibly 20 to 30x. So we are focused on scaling in the departments that we are known, as much as where we believe our skills are adjacent to the problem statement that they have. Globally speaking, there are some, if you look at Europe, in the immediate neighborhood, there are some linguistic challenges. So that doesn't allow. We have dabbled our toe, whether it's devolved government approaches in Netherlands or Finland or Germany. The linguistic limitations prohibit us from really scaling. These are ones and twos of engagement. So we have curtailed it. Where we can support it contiguously, we are significantly engaged. The example for that would be Australia, Ipswich Council. It sounds same as what we have here in the UK, but that's one that we have taken on a full transformation journey. If you go to the state of Arizona, the local government is significantly served by our Salesforce capability. Here in the UK, it's a back office transformation. In the Middle East as well, we are engaged significantly with government, but that's government and health. Significant part of the health ecosystem is serviced in our Middle Eastern presence. So you have the flavors of government engagement, but we are very, very focused on where we want to scale and where they have the focus with their policy. I'll just pause for any observations, or Ashish, you can complement it, please.
Thank you, Abhishek. And I think, Harish, the only thing, two things I'd like to add was another way of answering your question is what are we looking in terms of our pipeline of work over the next 12 to 18 months to begin our delivery of Vision 2030. And I know EU exit was a long time back, but actually in terms of digital transformation and our citizen experience, we are nearly just about started the implementation of EU exit in terms of systems, processes, and technology. So there's a huge volume of work still remaining on EU exit for next 5 to 7 years. The second thing we are focusing on, Harish, is fraud reduction. We have programs of work undergoing at the moment, which needs to help likes of not only Home Office, but also DWP and HMRC. And fraud in context of taxation for HMRC is quite relevant, for Home Office in terms of caseworking, and for DWP in terms of everything as such. We're more than happy to talk about, Harish. I think we are trying to participate into one of your papers as well, and you'll see a lot more what we project out for next few years in that paper. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Abhishek, Ashish, we have one question from Robert Stoneman in the chat. Maybe if you can address that.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
So I put it in the chat just in case we run out of time. It's just really around the obviously we're getting a lot of questions at the moment around the geopolitical uncertainty, to put it simply, and the impact on supply chains, and what, as a supplier, how you're navigating this. Is this something that you're hearing from your customers? What are you doing? What mitigating actions are you putting in place to address this with them?
We are, Rob. We certainly are. In our QBRs with our customers, they are raising these concerns. And why is that as well? They're, having a simple and a specific conversation. Our customers have us and their other trusted partners, close partners who have capabilities either in the UK or in European mainland, Poland, and especially also in Ireland. So they are quite concerned about these. They keep looking for options and ideas from us in terms of our own resilience. So, for example, Mastek as a team is quite content with our approaches, like Abhishek mentioned, in terms of UK. And I think we are quite content that our customers see us as lower risk when it comes down to capability from Mastek, because we really have settled and established ourselves as a UK delivery partner. When it comes down to our intent to perhaps think at Northern Ireland or even Warsaw in terms of some capabilities, they do have a question mark on that too. Notwithstanding that we have our own challenges, like I mentioned earlier on, Rob, about our aging workforce, about our tenured workforce. And I think we have our next 12 to 18 months to keep looking at investing ahead in that capability. And to that extent, we are committed to work along with Russell Group of universities, to intake of engineering capabilities, but also working alongside likes of Cranfield University and or Oxford Business School to train our people in leadership. I think you may also ask, Ashish, Abhishek, how concerned are you? We have to onboard about 250 staff in UK and Europe every quarter, and to support our growth. And I think at the moment we are doing green on 100 to 150, and amber is a good state, as you know, in public sector. And we are recognizing the fact that we have to invest a lot more upfront to be able to get to very close to 200 staff, with sustainability rather than having contract staff all the time. So long story short, Rob, we're kind of doing okay, but we can't be complacent, and it does help the new sponsorship initiative that's been done by the Home Office, over the last few years, that the government wants to help us create new jobs. And I know Abhishek is really excited, so am I, about our partnership with a number of organizations in the North. You'll see a lot more investment, in that area going forward too. So humbly confident, but not complacent.
Yeah, I'll add just
Thanks,
one more
Ashish.
facet, Rob, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Happy for you to follow up further with it. That's fine.
Right. So as an organization, we are also we are UK headquartered, which basically means that we are paying our taxes here. This is not a branch operation. This is not a marketing office. We are, as a legal entity, we contract here, we do, the profits sit here, it doesn't go overseas. So to that extent, it creates a degree of confidence for my public sector buyers that it has not just a UK persona, it is practically, for all practical purposes, just like a UK supplier, any other supplier with a global flavor. We do have some technology solutions that allows our clients to get the benefits of offshore as needed. There's larger workforce, the ability to scale at a faster pace, and of course the commercial benefit that comes along with that. The technical solution allows and ensures that we are compliant at the highest level, the data doesn't leave the shore, and it is, what someone said, more secure than a work from home environment here in the UK. So those are some of the solutions on the ground that we have, both I would say as a legal entity, as a technical solution, as much as everything that Ashish outlined on the supply chain.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we are on top of the hour. We can close the call.
Sudeshna, just before we close the call, maybe you could reach out to them and you could ask if there are any pointers that maybe we couldn't cover due to the paucity of time. We will be happy to get back to them with the specifics. And if there are any specific engagements that we need, specific calls with Abhishek or Ashish or Keith or let's say Ritijit and Ann who are not there on the call, we should be more than happy to facilitate that. Because that will be to zoom into a particular area. Right now, we just covered a broader one.
Yeah. Okay. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You want to connect with the leaders offline, please feel free to reach out to us. And thanks for your time on the call. We really appreciate this.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, folks.
Appreciate.
Thank you so much for your time.